I didn't look up. I was setting the ceramic filter on the edge of the mess tray, the same way I'd set it on every ship, every forward station, every survey bunk I'd been assigned to in 4 years of joint diplomatic work. Unscrew the top. Fill with local source water. Let gravity do the math. The whole operation took about 40 seconds and produced, in roughly 8 minutes, a cup of water that tasted like nothing and contained nothing it shouldn't. Velashara was the head of the Kethsalva Resource Commission, which made her the most senior alien official I'd shared a meal with in 6 months. She had 3 colleagues with her, junior assessors, all smooth carapaced, all wearing the same shade of pale copper that apparently signified technical authority in their hierarchy. They were watching my filter the way I might watch someone sharpen a stick to dig a ditch. Our purification column, Velashara said, gesturing toward the gleaming unit recessed into the far wall of the mess, removes particulate to 12 decimal points. It also removes dissolved mineral variance, microbial load, isotopic irregularity, and, she paused, as if for effect, aesthetic imperfection. I said. Your device, she said, is ceramic. It is. One of the junior assessors leaned over to translate this for a colleague who apparently hadn't caught it. Whatever he said produced another round of quiet, polite laughter, the kind you get when something is so far beneath serious critique that it becomes charming. I waited for my filter to drip. The joint mission was a resource assessment of the Kethsalva 4 orbital approach, a contested zone where 3 different jurisdictions had overlapping survey rights and nobody trusted anyone else's water readings. I was there as the human diplomatic observer, which meant I sat in on technical briefings, filed daily summaries, and mostly stayed out of the way while people with actual authority argued about mineral extraction thresholds. The filter was mine. I'd had it for 11 years. My grandmother had given it to me when I made the diplomatic corps, a goodbye present, slightly baffling, wrapped in brown paper. She said she'd carried one through 6 months in a place where the water couldn't be trusted and the power couldn't either. Does it function automatically? Velashara asked. She seemed genuinely curious, in the way you're curious about an antique. Gravity, I said. Just gravity. Just gravity. She nodded slowly, the way you nod when an answer is technically correct but also confirms everything you suspected. Her nano column hummed behind her. It was about the size of a refrigerator, matte grey, covered in diagnostic readouts that updated every 4 seconds. It had been installed in the mess at the start of the mission and had, in the 2 weeks since, produced approximately 800 litres of water that was, by every measurable standard, perfect. I poured my first cup. It tasted like water. I drank it. Pre-industrial theatre, one of the junior assessors murmured, in passable trade standard, and didn't bother lowering his voice. I refilled the top chamber and waited for cup 2. The contamination flag appeared on day 11, at 0340 ship time, while I was asleep. I found out about it at breakfast, when I came into the mess and noticed that the nanocolumn's primary readout was cycling amber. Velashara was already there, standing with her technical lead, a compact, fast-moving assessor named Dorothy, who communicated mostly in clipped technical notation that I could follow about 60% of the time. The column was still running. The water coming out of it looked the same, but the amber light was pulsing every few seconds like a slow, patient warning. Local particulate signature, Dorothy said, when I asked. The mineral compound in this zone, it is catalogued but the column is not calibrated for the specific isotopic variant present here. The filtration is compensating. Compensating how? He looked at Velashara. She looked at me with an expression I'd learned to read over the past 2 weeks, a fractional tightening around the secondary eye cluster that meant the answer was more complicated than she wanted it to be. The column removes what it recognizes, she said. It is flagging variance outside its parameter set. It is still processing, but it's passing what it doesn't recognize, I said. A pause. It is logging the unknown compound and queuing a recalibration request to the manufacturer, Dorothy said. Recalibration uplift takes approximately 4 to 6 days. I set up my filter. The amber light pulsed. By midday, Dorothy had run 3 independent tests on the column's output and confirmed that the unrecognized compound, a manganese silicate variant the Commission's survey catalogue listed as inert but hadn't seen in this particular isotopic configuration, was present in the processed water at trace levels. Trace. Probably fine. Almost certainly fine. The compound was not on any known hazard list. Probably fine, Velashara said, which was a sentence I had never heard her say in 2 weeks and which landed with a weight that suggested she didn't like the sound of it either. Dorothy Eve ran a 4th test. The number went up slightly. He ran a 5th. It went up again. At 1400, the column was taken offline. There was a supply of sealed ration water, emergency stock, stored in the hold, that would cover essential needs for about 9 days. Enough to wait for the recalibration uplift, with margin. Velashara announced this in a brief commission meeting with the calm competence of someone managing a minor inconvenience, and I believed her, and the meeting ended. Afterward, she found me in the mess. I had my filter set up on the tray. I'd pulled local source water from the tap, raw, unprocessed, whatever the ship was pulling from his own, and was running it through the ceramic. The filter didn't know about isotopic variance. It had no parameter set to exceed. It had a pore size, and if a particle was larger than the pore, the particle stayed on the wrong side of the ceramic. The manganese silicate compound, whatever its isotopic configuration, had a molecular weight that put it comfortably on the wrong side. The filter didn't know that. It just dripped. Velashara stood in the doorway for a moment. Then she came in and sat down across from me. "Your device," she said carefully, "does not have a parameter set." "It has a pore size," I said. "It removes what fits through and stops what doesn't." "Yes." She considered this for a long moment. The amber light was off now. The column was dark, dormant, waiting for a file from a manufacturer 4 days away. "Does it remove the compound?" I pushed a test strip into the cup. We both watched it. The indicator that would have turned amber stayed the color it started. "Yes," I said. I poured the cup toward her side of the table. She looked at it for a moment, the slightly cloudy first drawer look that ceramic always produces, the faint mineral smell that 12-decimal purification doesn't leave behind, the absolute absence of any readout or diagnostic to tell her what was in it or wasn't. She picked it up. She drank it. She set it down and said nothing for a while. I didn't make a production of it. That's the thing people always want to know. Afterward, did I enjoy it? Did I say anything? Did I watch their faces? I've told this story a few times now, in debriefs and in the kind of late-night mess conversations that happen on long survey rotations, and the version people want is the one where I said something dry and perfect and the aliens looked embarrassed and I walked away. That's not what happened. What happened is that Dorothy Eve came into the mess at about 1600 and quietly asked if the filter was still running. I said yes. He filled a cup, tested it with his own strip, waited, nodded once, and drank it standing up. He refilled it before he left. By evening, Velashara had put out a quiet advisory to the commission staff that the filter was available in the mess for discretionary use while the column awaited recalibration. She phrased it as a courtesy notice. The ration water, she noted, remained available for essential use. The filter ran all night. I slept well. When I came back to the mess in the morning, there was a short, orderly queue, 3 junior assessors and Dorothy Eve, waiting for the drip cycle to finish. Nobody said much. One of them, the same one who'd said pre-industrial theatre 2 days before, held the cup in both hands while he waited, watching the water come through the ceramic one slow drop at a time. I set up a second filter. I had a spare. Velashara found me again at the end of the day, just before the evening briefing. "The recalibration uplift will arrive in 3 days," she said. "Good," I said. She looked at the filter. She looked at me. "I would like," she said, after a moment, "to submit a formal request through the commission to obtain the specifications for your filtration device. For our records." "It's a 200-year-old ceramic pore design," I said. "The specifications are public record." "Yes," she said. "I know." She picked up her cup, her second of the day, I'd noticed, though I hadn't said so, and went to the briefing. The nano column came back online on day 14, recalibrated, precise, and molecularly perfect. Velashara thanked me formally in the closing session and said the commission looked forward to continued cooperation with the Human Diplomatic Observer Program. I packed up my filters, both of them, and headed for the shuttle. My grandmother, who gave me the first one, would have found the whole thing very funny. She wouldn't have said so. She'd have just refilled her cup and let you figure it out.